I'm back, baby. Yeah. Trending the AM is going to start here in 30 seconds. I'm going to get everything I have to say about the Eagles off my chest. A lot of great stuff and actually some negative stuff. You won't even believe it. Phillies. Look, I'm pre-recording tonight. They're tied 0-0. Free fall. They have not won while I was out of the country. I'm back in the country. Let's see if I can change those things. We're going to talk about that. Eagles. Who knows what else is going to come up here as I roll. Trending the AM starts in 30 seconds.
Holding gets around in front.
And Philadelphia has it.
What is up, everybody? Phil Stiefel here, trending in the AM. Like I said, I'm back, baby. I'm back. I don't even know if I know how to do this. Let me say. I hope this is working. I don't know. It's been. I've never gone 8 days without doing a show in my life since I started content creating. Took a little trip to Mexico, as you can see. I don't know what this light here in this office of mine. I'm very tan right now, but I'm back. And I was going to do Training the AM live on Thursday morning, get it back started. But unfortunately, had some work things come up, so I didn't want to miss and wait another day to start getting my thoughts of what's gone on in Philly sports over the last 8 days off my chest. I'm extremely exhausted, so who knows how this is going to come out. It might go 30 minutes. It might go an hour. Who knows? I'm going to ramble on here. You're going to be watching this Thursday morning live while I'm already back at work. But this was a long day. I woke up at 6 a.m., left for the Cancun airport, sat at the Cancun airport for 3 hours, took a 3.5-hour flight home from Cancun, hour layover or hour time zone change, and then that hour ride home from the Baltimore airport turned into 3 hours because of an accident. So I'm exhausted, but I got lots to say. And I'm sidetracked because, again, we're pre-recording this on Wednesday night. I got the Phillies game over here on my left here. And, it's 7th inning. Still no score. The Phillies have not won a game since I left the country. Their last win, I don't even know what the date of their last win was, but the 15th was their first loss. I was out of the country. So, yeah, that's not good. It's not good. So, we'll get to the Phillies in a minute. We got to talk Eagles to start. I did watch the Eagles game. Luckily, being in Cancun, you don't really get all the channels. You don't get a lot of great stuff and all. But being on Monday Night Football, it was on ESPN. I did have the Mexican-Spanish telecast going on, but I still was able to watch the game. I had a karaoke going on behind me. I had a great reggae band playing behind me, but I was still able to sit at the 5 o'clock summer bar because I was down at a Margaritaville in Cancun and have the game on. I was the only person in Eagles gear. It's funny because Sunday Night Football, Bears-Packers, there was literally like 30 people wearing Bears and Packers gear, and everybody was cheering along. Get to Monday Night Football with the Eagles-Vikings, there was not one person outside of me. I was rocking my Lane Johnson jersey, but I was the only person focused on that football game on Monday night. Nobody was even caring about that on the other TV, the Buffalo game. Nobody cared about that. I don't know. Everybody from Chicago and Green Bay must have been in Cancun, and nobody from Philly. So Eagles win 24-7. I know you guys are all probably tired of talking about it, but I haven't had a chance to talk about it. I tweeted a little that night, but I really got some things to say about it. And I won't take 3 hours talking about it, but I'm going to say what I got to say about it. We got Friday's show. We'll break down the Washington commies as we get set to play them in week 3. We'll talk about that on Friday's show. But I still want to, because I think now that it's Thursday, Wednesday night for me, but Thursday, when you're watching this, it's been a couple days since that game has ended. Maybe you can start thinking a little bit more clearer about it. 24-7, a great win. Some people are on social media saying Jalen Hurts' best game yet in his career. Nick Sirianni's best coached game. Shane Steichen's best play calling yet. I saw a stat that we are 10-3 now since Shane Steichen's taken over play calling duties from Nick Sirianni last year, which just shows how great of a move that was by Nick Sirianni doing that. That being said, Jonathon Gannon, some people are praising Jonathon Gannon. And while Jonathon Gannon did perform better than week 1 against Detroit, I'm not ready to jump on the Jonathon Gannon is safe for the rest of the year bandwagon or anything like that. We got to also look at the difference between Detroit and how great Detroit's looked now 2 weeks in a row offensively, and Minnesota. Minnesota looked good the week before against Green Bay, but a Green Bay team that looked like they'd already phoned it in. Then they come out this week and win. I don't know where Green Bay is yet. I actually have zero clue where Green Bay is as a team at this point. But the Eagles, all in all, I want to start with the good. And Jalen Hurts and the offense was really good for the first half. 24 first half points. They did not put up a single point in the second half, which is something that's slightly concerning to me. Jalen Hurts, 26 of 31, 333 yards, a touchdown. And I tweeted that bad interception. I know it touched Gainwell's hands. It was just a bad pass on his part. Should never have made that in traffic in that situation. Up multiple scores, cruising along. That was just one of 3 plays, in my opinion, that could have clearly swung the momentum of this game into a direction that might not have been the greatest of outcomes as we had. Whether we still win or not, I don't know. But there were 3 plays that could have changed that, and that being one of them. Obviously, it wasn't the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts show again. I mean, he spread the ball all over the place. A.J. Brown still led with 8 targets, had 5 of them for catches, but Devontae Smith had 7 catches, got involved. Dallas Goedert had 5, got involved. Dallas Goedert had a great block on the Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown. I don't think enough people have talked about that. He mauled people over along the sideline. Not enough people talk about that at all. Obviously, Quez Watkins got in, had the big 53-yard touchdown. Beautiful pass. But then there's even the pass that got called back because of a penalty to Quez Watkins, where Jalen Hurts scrambles out of the pocket to his left, turns his hips, fires a huge pass downfield. Quez Watkins tiptoes along the sideline there, makes the catch. There was a holding penalty, called that play back. But all in all, you see the way he distributed the ball. You see the way he dropped back Jalen Hurts, read the field multiple times, looked left, looked right. I could see it in Cancun with music playing in the background and no audio, going. Like, if I could see that, you guys had to see that as well. That Jalen Hurts, one of the biggest question marks coming into the season about Jalen Hurts was, can he read the field? Can he sit back there and go from check down 1 to check down 2, whatever, before scrambling? And yes, his scrambling saves him. Not enough talk, again, because we are 2-0, about how the offensive line is underperformed, in my opinion. There'd be a lot more sacks being given up if Gardner Minshew or Carson Wentz or Nick Foles or any of the former Eagles quarterbacks of the last 5-10 years were back there under center. This offensive line would be near the top. They'd be giving up Joe Burrow level sacks right now. But Jalen Hurts' ability to scramble and get out of that pressure makes him look better. We talked about it on the show a while ago. My man George, who always is commenting on the show and always involved and participating with the show. Excuse me, I'm exhausted here. We talked about, he asked me to ask a question. We discussed it on the show one day. Did the great offensive line of the Eagles make Jalen Hurts look better than he really was last year? And I countered his question with, did Jalen Hurts make the offensive line look better than they actually were? And that's actually where I leaned. And people questioned it. It's a debate. It could go either way. But I think these first 2 weeks, and especially this past week, you could see that Jalen Hurts can hide some of those deficiencies. We could talk about the penalties, the false starts, the holdings, whatever they were, whether they're real or not, whatever. The penalties are an issue that need to be cleaned up, and Nick Sirianni needs to work on that. Some of them were bogus calls, no doubt about it. That one offensive pass interference, I think it was on Devontae Smith on a play that I think would have resulted in a touchdown. Bogus call, bad call, whatever. The offensive line has not performed up to what we expect. We were talking about them being the number 1 offensive line in football, if not number 2 or 3 in football. I know Jason Kelsey's graded out PFF-wise, I think the 3rd best center in football right now. But Jalen Hurts is hiding some of the deficiencies of this team on the offensive line. But he's still able to drop back, have enough confidence to go bing, bang, boom, read that field. Then he doesn't see it, he takes off. That was one of the major check marks we need to see. You know what? The deep pass to Quez Watkins, I knew he could do it. He just had to have the confidence to stay back there to make that throw. Rolling to his left instead of just to his right, where we always say, you look at the spray chart, he's throwing just as much to the left to the right. He needs to focus on the middle of the field a little bit more. I think that'll come as the season continues on. But he's checking all these boxes off. Because Jalen, I joke about it. I always make an MVP bet for the Phillies, the Sixers, the Eagles every year for one of their stars. I hit on Bryce Harper actually last year. And I bet it. Everyone's like, oh, you're a homer. You're betting 25, whatever. I got him to 1, Jalen Hurts MVP. And he's got to be a front runner for it already. Top 5 at least. Because he's playing that good. And he took steps from his 4 games his rookie year that he played. I think it was 1-3 at that end of that terrible 2020 season. To last year, he took a little bit of a step. Got this team to the playoffs last year. The steps already in 2 games into the season that he's taken over last season, it's not like he's taking steps. He's taking leaps, giant jumps. What's Superman can leap tall buildings. Jalen Hurts is doing that, and it's only 2 games into the season. And you can say A.J. Brown has made him better. The confidence, the play. There's so many things that are factored into it. But the fact that people are saying it's one of his best games ever, you got people that have been doubting him since day one, jumping on the Hurts bandwagon. People are starting to see what us Hurts supporters have been seeing since day one. The intangibles have always been there. The work ethic was always there. And if you put the work in, you're going to get better. Now, I didn't even foresee him being this good this quickly. And let's be honest, we're not going 17-0 this year. I did make a joke on the preseason predictions that I had a way of them getting to 15-2. It's not going to happen. They're going to have hiccups. They're going to lose games. Hopefully not anytime soon, but they will. And we'll see how he responds to those things. But what I see eye test-wise is everything that I had hoped he could be. He's being it. I love the fact that he only ran the ball 11 times. Now, I don't know what the breakdown is on that of scrambles versus actual design runs. There were a few. Sorry, man. I got hiccups out of control right now. Acid reflux from drinking and eating tacos for the last 8 days here. It's going to take me a while to recover from that. But yeah, only rushing the ball 11 times compared to the 18 week 1. Huge improvement. I love to see it. Miles Sanders had another strong game. 17 rushes for 80 yards. Your Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell, they're getting a little bit involved, but just showing that the lack of confidence I had in Miles Sanders is being proven wrong now the first 2 weeks of the season. Did not think he was ready. Did not think he was healthy. I've never denied his talent, just denied whether he could stay healthy enough and play. For a full, we still have to see if he could make it through a whole season or not. Excuse me. Anyway, the offense. The only concern I'm going to say about the offense is what happened in the second half. Now, by the second half, I was into another bar. I was into a few more drinks. Don't know where my focus was. But the offense went cold in the second half. They moved the ball a little bit. You had the blocked field goal, which was key play number 2. Key play number 1 that could have changed the momentum of this game, where we might not be so positive about everything, was the interception Hurts threw, which was partially Hurts' fault. I will say it again. Issue number 2 was the blocked field goal. I don't know whose fault that was. Could have just been a great special teams play. I don't know. But that blocked field goal, if Aaron Sipos, our punter, which the guy that blocked that punt or was run that return back, he's got to be kicking himself in the ass. He let a punter catch him from behind. That's a 6 points right there. It could have been 3 points for us. Could have been 6, 7, 8 points for the Vikings. That was key moment number 2 that could have swung the momentum in the Vikings' favor. They score that touchdown there. It goes to 24-14. We had an interception after that, a couple punts after that. Who knows how the game plays out after that? Total momentum change right there. So again, another reason why I want to just say, look, we're 2-0. I'm psyched. I'm pumped. I had them going 3-0 to start the season. But we just got to be patient here because this team has not peaked yet. We scored 24 first half points. That first half, some of the best football I've seen, offensively and defensively, at moments. But it could have been better. Imagine that. People were hyping up the Vikings to start this season. Not me. I didn't see it. I didn't understand it. Kirk Cousins, to me, is still a shallow quarterback, shallow stat quarterback. Puts up the numbers, doesn't lead his team. Week 1, they put up all those points and against Green Bay, and you had Justin Jefferson for 6,000 yards receiving in week 1. And this week he comes out, again, his 10th loss in 12 games on Monday Night Football. The guy comes up small in big moments. So I don't understand the hype. And everyone's like, well, they got better on defense. Well, our offense just dominated their defense in the first half. So I don't get it. I don't get those things. So I never understood the Viking hype. But they could be better, the Eagles, because they still did not play a perfect game, even in the first half. So I said there were three plays that could have been momentum changing for this game that could have swung it in the Vikings' favor. Who knows if Kirk Cousins, breaks that bad Monday Night Football curse or whatever it is. It probably wouldn't have mattered. But there are things that I keep looking back at. The interception, the blocked field goal that a punter had to save the day. And then there was a huge pass. Kirk Cousins threw a bomb to Irv Smith, I believe it was. It was tight end. I think it was Irv Smith. And he dropped it. It fell right in his breadbasket. Dropped. He would have clearly had a clear path to the end zone. That's another play right there that would have changed the momentum of the game. Would have put 7 more points on the board for the Vikings. Who knows how the game flow, the game theory plays out the rest of the night. Whether we could be a conservative run team in the side. Who knows what happens? The Phillies got 2 on right now. Kyle Schwarber just took a huge hack and popped it up. Anyway, who knows how the game would have played out if Irv Smith catches that touchdown, catches that pass, gets to the touchdown. Even if he doesn't score it, but sets him up for some kind of a score. Who knows? And that brings me to the defense. Everyone's saying Jonathon Gannon had his best game as a defensive coordinator of the Eagles. I disagree. I don't think he did. I think Darius Slay had one of his best games as an Eagle, and Darius Slay saved Jonathon Gannon's ass massively on Monday Night Football. The defensive secondary, Darius Slay, James Bradbury, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Avonte Maddox, they were on fire. I mean, to hold Justin Jefferson to, let me pull his stats up here again, to 6 catches for 48 yards after what he did in week 1. To have Adam Thielen have 4 for 52. Irv Smith had 5 catches for 36, and he did have the 1 touchdown, but he had another drop. Maybe it was KJ Osborne that had the big drop. I don't know who had the big drop. To be able to do that to that offensive passing game, damn, hell of a job by that secondary. Hell, keeping Dalvin Cook to 17 yards on 6 carries. He had more receiving yards at 19 than he did rushing yards. Now, that's part of Minnesota's game plan. You weren't down that much. You should not have gone away from Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook easily should have had 10, 15 carries on Monday night. It was never that far out of reach where they should have gone away from that. But the Eagles' rushing defense was doing their job. I got the snap count up here on another screen here. Epps, Bradbury, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson all played 100% of the snaps. Maddox and Slay were in the 80s. Edwards in the 90s. But you had Hassan Reddick again, dropping back into coverage multiple times. We saw him struggle dropping back into coverage. Fletcher Cox, 66% of the snaps. Too much. Jordan Davis, he was up to 34%, but it's still not enough. He only played 21 snaps again. Tupelo had only 3 less snaps. Milton Williams had more snaps in him. I don't think that's the right way to go. Now, they weren't on the field a lot. There was only 61 plays on defense. But Jordan Davis needs to be out there if there's 61 plays, he's got to be out there for 30 of them. He's got to be hitting that 50% mark. He really does. Hassan Reddick, dropping him into coverage. We were freaking out about that in training camp, about them doing that. We were talking about whether they were working on something. Who knows? Just working on his deficiencies, whatever. But we see him doing it the first 2 games now, multiple times, dropping your best pass rusher back in the coverage. He is not going to get the 18.5 sacks that I predicted on the painted lines at this rate. He ain't going to get the 10 sacks at this rate. But this team has to do a better job of blitzing. Now, they ran some different kinds of creative blitzes, which was nice, which was different, which was creative. But when Darius Slay and Bradbury and Epps, those guys were doing, and Maddox, when they were doing so good on the outside covering these guys, that gave Jonathon Gannon the option to do some more blitzing. Now, they only had 2 sacks. Sweat and Cox had a couple sacks each. Let me see quarterback hits. They did have quite a few hits, 7 hits on him, but still nothing. Hassan Reddick has more pass deflections, pass defended, than he does quarterback hits. That's a problem. So while Jonathon Gannon is being lauded as having this great game, guys, I want to tell you, pump the brakes. We've seen Carson Wentz have a pretty good start to the season. We've seen Saquon Barkley have a pretty good start to the season. We've seen a lot of teams, Detroit put up 30-some points against us. Guys, Jonathon Gannon did not impress me with his game plan. The talent of his players made up for his lack of a plan, in my opinion. You're gonna kill me. You're gonna crush me for that. I know it. But Jonathon Gannon, to me, did not have that great of a game. We won on defense despite him. We won because Kirk Cousins is terrible. He's not a Monday Night Football guy. Whatever. We won despite Jonathon Gannon. And if we continue to have the game plan that he has rolling out there through the first 2 weeks, Washington, the Cardinals, one of these teams in the next 2-3 weeks, the Cowboys, I think we got them, week 6 before the bye? Guys, I'm worried. Because it's been a few days. Tuesday morning, sure, I was pumped. I was sitting on the beach, drinking a cocktail. Yeah, go Birds. But now, a couple days later, after being in a plane and in a car and in an airport for the last 12, 14 hours, dude, I'm telling you, I am slightly concerned still about this defense because of Jonathon Gannon. I said after week 1, I'd give him 3 weeks. After week 3 against Washington, I'm going to give him a more detailed report card on how he's doing. But as of this moment, where a lot of people are hyped about Jonathon Gannon, I'm going to say still incomplete on Jonathon Gannon. And it's crazy because Darius Slay had an amazing game. I mean, there's nothing you could take away from the game he had. I mean, to shut down and lock down Justin Jefferson, very few people could do it. Very few people. Didn't get called for any penalties. There was not many missed penalties or anything like that. He took Justin Jefferson to school. No doubt about it. Jalen Reagor also got involved in the game. Obviously, you knew they weren't going to let him go without touching the ball. Did he? Yeah, he had 1 catch for 7 yards and 1 rush for 17 yards. Obviously, he got booed. Rightfully so. He's an opponent now. We don't need to bully him for his time here. We don't need to do all that social media stuff, but when he's on the field, we talked about before I went away on vacation about booing people when they come back to town in another team's uniform. Carson Wentz, same thing. You're going to get the boos when you come back to Philly. You deserve, you're not here anymore. You're the opponent. Why should I cheer? Before a game, sure, I'll give you a little golf clap it, but that's it. That's all. You're not getting any special treatment because you were here. You're the opponent. You're the enemy. You're good. You're dead. You're dead to me. But that's that. So, all in all, 24-7 is a very, very, very good outcome for the game. But it still leaves me wanting more. To me, based off of the way this game went offensively and defensively, I don't understand why we didn't win 37-14. Maybe they score 1 more touchdown or they get 2 more field goals or something like that. But we left a lot of points on the field, and we got lucky that they didn't score more points in multiple situations. Again, 3 plays that could have changed the outcome of the game. The interception, which was a bad interception, the blocked kick, which should have been a touchdown, but luckily we have the Flash as a punter in Aaron Sippos. He's going to have to dress up with the Flash for Halloween, I would guess. And, of course, the drop pass over the middle, I believe, again, to Irv Smith. That could have been a touchdown, should have been a touchdown, but a bad drop right there. Again, so Kirk Cousins stinks, but, again, on the second side there, his team picks him up a little bit there. His team's got to pick him up a little bit there in certain moments. So, we got Washington coming to town, and, I'm all hyped. We go to Washington, actually, my bad. But, we got Washington next week or this weekend, and, I kind of have this feeling that everybody is so high after two weeks when there have been obvious bad moments. Being 2-0 to start the season, having MVP caliber play from Jalen Hurts. It's all awesome. It's all gravy, man. But it could be better. It should be better. The penalties, again, bogus penalties sometimes, but it's been sloppy play. The offensive line has not done their job protecting Jalen Hurts. Like I said at the beginning of the show, if that was Nick Foles or Carson Wentz or Gardner Minshew, they'd be getting crushed back there. They'd feel just as bad as Joe Burrow felt after Sunday's game. And that guy gets hit nonstop, Joe Burrow. It's a damn shame. But that's that. All in all, though, I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm pumped. We're just going to have to be better. And if this team can get better from what they are, because like I said, they haven't performed to an elite level, watch out, NFL. Watch out. Because the Eagles are going to be scary in 2-3 months if they get better from where they're at now. Problem is, if they don't get any better than they are right now, their schedule does get tougher later in the year. We'll have to see how they play. That's what I got on the Eagles. That I had to clear my thoughts. I had to clear my head on all that Eagles talk right there. I couldn't skip another show. Had to get it all out. Phillies are now in the 8th inning. Still no score. Man. Phillies. What's been happening to the Phillies? You know, I go away for a week, and the Phillies turn into, I don't know what they turned into. I mean, they turned into who I thought they were, basically, right? You know who I told you they all were. You know, okay, so I shouldn't say they haven't won since I left the country. The day I left the country, the 14th, is the last time they won. But then they've gone on a 5-game losing streak since then. And again, I talked about this many times on this show. How many times that they go on 4 or 5-game winning streaks, then go on 4 or 5-game losing streaks, and 4 or 5-game winning streaks. They're an inconsistent team. They had 88 wins on the season. They've got, let me see, how many games they got left to play this year? That's 147, so that's 15 games to play approximately. You know, a lot of people had them at 90, 92 wins. Let me tell you guys, it's going to be tough to happen at this rate. They have to win tonight, that's for sure. So Anthony giving up a corner shot there. Did that turn into a single double? He stayed at first. But you got 4 games against the Braves coming up after tonight's game against Toronto. Well, last night's game against Toronto, because Training the AM is being recorded on Wednesday night here as the game's going on. It's the top of the 8th inning right now. The Cubs, you got 3 games, and you got 4 against the Nationals. That's 7 games right there. That's crucial. So 7 and 4, that's 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 games left, depending on how this game turns out tonight. Are they going to beat the Braves more than once? Maybe twice? They should be able to get 5 out of 7 against the Cubs and the Nationals, and they probably will, because they do beat up on the bad teams. So that's 5 wins right there. That puts them at 85. Say they win 1 against the Astros at the end of the year in Houston. That's 6. 1 against the Braves. That's 7. Maybe they beat Toronto or win 1 other game somewhere around there. That puts them at 88 wins. And guys, everybody's talking about the free fall of the Phillies. The Phillies are still an 80% likely team to make the playoffs. It is going to take them out of their last 14, 15 games to win 3 or 4 of them only, which is possible. Don't get me wrong. The way they're playing right now, that is absolutely possible. But it's not likely. They are going to most likely still backdoor, sneak their way, crawl, limp, flounder. I don't know what you want to call it. Whatever adjective you want to use. They are going to find a way into the playoffs. Now, whether they play the Padres or whoever in that first round of the playoffs, it's not going to be pretty, guys. It's just not. Yeah, it'd be great to see postseason baseball. None of it's going to be in Philly because of the way the playoff structure is now. And they're not going to do well. I mean, Zach Wheeler tonight, or last night, wink, wink, because this is a live show, supposedly. Zach Wheeler pitched 4 innings. Oh, my God. That was just a terrible error. Oh, my God. Zach Wheeler pitched 4 innings, back from his injury finally. Completely dominant in his 4 innings. No, he piggybacked with Noah Syndergaard, who came in the 5th, did the 5th, 6th, Alvarado 7th, Dominguez here in the 8th so far. Look, the starting pitching is a complete mess. But guess what? Who talked about this at the beginning of the year? Aaron Nola is a good 2. He's not an ace. We need him to be an ace. He's faltered. Aaron Nola has faltered again in September, and it actually dates back to the beginning of or the late in August. Zach Wheeler hurt. He didn't have quite his A stuff this year. He had really good stuff, but not his A+ stuff. Ranger Suarez is starting to settle in. there was a little stretch there we were thinking, maybe his arm's burning out a little bit, but he's starting to settle back down a little bit again. I haven't watched any of the games. I've kept up on the box scores and the Twitterverse and what people are saying about them. Ranger Suarez settling down a little bit. Kyle Gibson, exactly who I told you guys he was. Kyle Gibson is not a starting pitcher on a playoff caliber team. He's a fifth starter at best. Or he's a starter on a team that wins 60 games. He is not a great starting pitcher. But yet everybody's like, he's going to be good this year. Law of average in baseball, 162 game season. Everything at the end of the year, you are what your stats say you are. You play 15 out of 17 baseball games and somebody just hit a 3-run bomb here in the top of the 8th against Sir Anthony Dominguez. And so that probably means the Phillies are going to lose again tonight because why not? But yeah, Kyle Gibson, more seasons of 5+ ERA than under 4 ERA in his career. Why? Why do people have this confidence in this pitching staff? I was hyped for the Noah Syndergaard trade because I thought he'd be a really good fifth starter. He's obviously a bare minimum. He's not much better, if any better, than Zach Eflin, who came back from injury while I was away. Y'all know my opinions on Zach Eflin. He's nothing special either. We just got a lot of nothing specials with a guy in Aaron Nola that falls apart at the end of the season, Zach Wheeler, who, it just might be a little too late for him to come back at this point. Bailey Falter, don't call me Bradley. He's probably one of our best pitchers at this point. I'm telling you, he's going to be the fifth starter on this team next year. Eflin, free agent, he's gone. Gibson, free agent, he's gone. You got Nola, you got Wheeler, you got Suarez. Go out and sign another big-name starting pitcher and put Bailey Falter at the 5 spot until Painter or Abel or McGreary or one of those young kids are ready. Going to have to do something with this team because the pitching's going to hold this team back for a long time. Got a lot of money spent on this team. Bryce Harper has not been the same since he's come back. He played better in his rehab in the minors and then in the majors when he came back from his IL stint there. Nick Castellanos, I think I saw something on Twitter that he might be starting to rehab this weekend, which means then next week in Chicago he might be back. Yeah, there's 10 games left at that point, though. Kyle Schwarber, flatline a little bit. Rhys Hoskins, flatline a little bit. All of a sudden, Bryson Stott can't play defense anymore. He gave a big error in this inning just now. Alec Boehm still consistent. JT Realmuto has been on fire. I don't want to take anything away from JT Realmuto. JT Realmuto has been fantastic. He should get a couple of third-place votes or whatever for MVP. He should finish in the top 10. I mean, that not only is he the best defensive catcher still in baseball, but I mean, he's got his OPS, over 800 now. His average is close to 280. The dude's just raking the baseball and doing everything possible to carry this team on his back. But again, I said it before. I'll say it again. This team is poorly built. It's not going to miss the playoffs. The playoff drought of 11 years will end, most likely. But does it matter? And that's my question. Because if they make the playoffs, if they break that streak, people are going to be like, all right, Rob Thompson, give him another year. We get it. We tweak this or that. We'll be good. We make the playoffs. I don't want there to be no excuses for Thompson, for Dombrowski, for Aaron Nola, for Bryce Harper, for the whole entire organization. People are going to say, you just don't like Rob Thompson. I have nothing wrong with Rob Thompson, but I want playoff baseball. I want that hunt for Red October back in Philly, like between 2007 and 2011. People are comparing this team to the 2007 Phillies. This is more like the 2006 Phillies that just barely missed the playoffs. I mean, even though they're going to make the playoffs. I want accountability for this Phillies team. I want Bryce Harper, instead of going, I want this player to be added to the team to make us better. I want Bryce Harper to stand up and say, yo, injury or not, I stunk. Nick Castellanos to come out and be like, yeah, worst year of my career. JT Realmuto, damn straight I sucked. Not let's get more players. Yo, us guys making all the big bucks in baseball, we got to step up and be better. That's what I want. I don't want Dave Dombrowski to come out and say, we're going to give Rob Thompson another year. He had a lot of unfortunate, bad luck, blah, 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 blah. No, I don't want to hear that. Rob Thompson, you can interview for the job, but we're bringing in 3 more candidates to interview as well. And if one of them has a better interview, has a better track record, guess what? They're getting the job. Hell, I want John Middleton. John Middleton, you spent a lot of money this year. Sit down with Dave Dombrowski. Yo, Dave, you spent a lot of my money this year. It's time for you to face the firing squad as well. What did you do wrong? How are you going to fix it? And how are we going to start this team trending in the right direction? Because Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thompson are just as much to blame for this season as the injuries, for the bad pitching, the bad bullpen, whatever else. You want to blame the players? You blame the players. Equal blame needs to be on the manager and the GM of this team because it was poorly constructed and it's been poorly managed. It has been. Let's not beat around the bush. I said the day they fired Joe Girardi, Rob Thompson was a great fill-in. They should have started their search right then and there. I know it doesn't happen often, but they should have. And I'm not gonna guarantee, but my opinion is that if you would have upgraded Rob Thompson by July, was it like June 1st or something like that? They fired Joe Girardi, or June 20th, whatever it was. If by July 1st you had a different manager in here, we might have 2 or 3 more wins on the season. We very well could. He has lost us a couple games with his bullpen usage, with his lineup rate and stuff like that. And maybe another manager is able to get these guys focused, the blinders on, what they need to do to win. Because right now, I mean, again, I don't even know why Sirianni Dominguez is pitching anymore. I mean, the guy's got so much talent. He's got his arms screwed up, obviously. We need him next year. We're not winning a World Series. 0 chance. Shut him down. Shut Zach Wheeler down. I know. People don't want to hear that. Whatever. I'm not trying to give up on the season. I do want that playoff game. And I'll be watching. I'll be pumped. I'll be hyped. I'm not a negative Nancy. I know there's a lot of beefs going on social media about people saying that they just want the Phillies. Whether they think the Phillies are just a bad team or other people saying that they're just so great, they're going to be fine, whatever. Everybody's making excuses. I just want results, and I want people held accountable. And I say that with basketball, the Sixers. I say that with the Eagles and football, and I say that with everybody. I just want people held accountable. Man, didn't Sir Anthony Dominguez give up like 5 runs in a game while I was out of the country? I'm pretty sure one of those losses he gave up 5 runs in the 8th or 9th inning. Well, he's given up 3 so far. I think some of them are unearned because of the error by Stott. There's 2 on. He's only gotten 1 out in this 8th inning so far. He's already coming out. Thrown 25 pitches, 1/3 of an inning. Yeah, like I said, a lot on Bryson Stott there. But, again, accountability. That's what we need with this Phillies team. I can't get into each game and breaking it down because I didn't watch a single Phillies game when I was in Cancun. And I'm glad I didn't because, thank God, there's no need for it. But anyway, the season's not over. And I just want people to remember that. Everyone keeps talking about this collapse that's happening. They're going to make the playoffs. I'm looking now. I don't know what it'll change to, but they're at 80.5 right now. They're probably going to lose tonight, but it looks like, and Milwaukee won tonight. So, yeah. So we're at 80.5%. That's probably going to drop to like 70-something after this loss tonight. But again, there's only 14 games left after tonight. It's going to take a 4-10, 3-11 stretch with Milwaukee also. Actually, I want to see what let me bring up the standings here for the wild card. How many games in the win-loss column is it? So they only have, so they're 2 games behind us. 1 on the win column, 3 in the loss column. But they're not playing spectacular baseball either. They had lost a bunch of games in a row there. They won tonight, but we're gonna have to go. Oh man, maybe not 4-10. They might need to go 9-5 to lock that up. I mean, let me look at the Brewers' schedule here real quick. What do they got left on their sheet here? The Reds for 4, 2 St. Louis, the 4 from. Oh man, dude, we might need to go 11-3. The Brewers' schedule after tonight, they won 4-0 tonight against the Mets, of course. They got 4 against Cincinnati, then 2 against the Cardinals, then 4 against the Marlins, and 3 against the Diamondbacks to close the season. They only play 2 games the rest of the year against winning baseball teams. Guys, maybe it's even worse than I thought at this point. It really might be. Guys, the Phillies are in trouble as an organization. John Middleton, the type of owner he is, he's not going to be happy at the end of the season. with the lack of results with the money he spent, and he shouldn't be. And I'm not either. So it's time to hold people accountable. Rob Thompson, Dave Dombrowski, whether you got to shake this roster up and trade somebody you wouldn't expect. I talked about in the past trading Reese Hoskins. I don't like it, but if you got to do it, you do it. If you got to trade Kyle Schwarber or Nick Castellanos, you do it. You know, this team has got issues all over it. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, I don't know. I don't know what you do. But they're going to have to do something drastic to shake this team up. Because if they just run it back and tweak it a little bit, we're going to have the same conversation next year at the same time of the year. The team's falling apart, it's collapsing, it's whatever. And here we go. A big must win. It's the 8th inning. We're down 3-0 now. They got 2 on, 1 out. And who do they throw out there again? Mr. Nick Nelson. I mean, Nick Nelson's a good guy to bring in the 6th inning of a game when you're down 5-0 or 7-1. But he's not a guy to come in clutch moment. And as I say that, he's throwing bombs, right? A 97-mile fastball right down the middle that they swing and miss at. But guys, you get what I'm saying. I just want the Phillies to be held accountable. Everyone, top to bottom. You know, everybody complains about the light. There's a decent crowd here tonight. At least it seems on the computer screen here. A decent amount of people showed up tonight. People complain about nobody showing up to the ballpark. We're not going to show up to the ballpark to watch this team. Wednesday night in September, school night, work night, no. Not when you're going to get this kind of effort. You see the faces on these guys that are in the dugout right now. They look like they've lost already. They've given up. They've collapsed. The fans just don't. There's no energy. This is going to be a big problem going forward. And we'll get into the offseason when the season ends and whatnot. They're still probably going to make the playoffs. But it's getting less and less likely. Every inning, every game, every pitch, every at-bat. Man, after just seeing what actually Milwaukee's schedule is, I'm a little scared, guys. I won't lie to you. I thought it was a short thing. But now seeing that, I don't know. We'll see, though. I was hoping this Phillies game would be over by the time this point of the recording happened. But, you know, I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. I will do. I'll make one joke. I did see Sean Couturier is probably going to be out for the season for the Flyers. So the Flyers season and Tortorella, the season, it's over before it started. There you go. I even gave some Flyers talk into my first show back after 8 days off. Guys, the Eagles trending, boom, right up. Phillies trending right down. Blah. Sixers training camps right around. I think we're like 4 weeks away from the start of the season. 3.5 weeks. Damn. Ready for some basketball, too. Train the AM's going to be so hyped in October and late September, man. There's so much happening. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm physically exhausted here on Wednesday night as I'm recording the show Thursday. Thank you to everybody tuned in. If you're watching on Twitter or Facebook, share it out, retweet it out. Make sure you're following DSM on all platforms. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button, that subscribe button. Drop your comments in the section there. I will get back to you. All your comments, I'll go back when I get to the show tomorrow afternoon. I'll go through all the comments. I'll respond to you. Follow me on Twitter at Beard and Knowledge with any of your thoughts on this. Am I crazy that the Eagles aren't even peaking yet? Like they haven't even scratched the surface on how good they are? Man, it's a crazy thought. Being 2-0 at this point and to think that they haven't played great. And Jonathon Gannon got lucky. Guys, think about it. He actually may have gotten lucky on Monday Night Football. But we're going to wrap it up. We'll be back Friday with another episode of Training the AM. We may have to pre-record Friday's show as well. It's great because it gives me the opportunity to hit up some people, have some different guests on this show that don't normally come on. But everybody have a great day, great Thursday. I'm glad to be back, baby. I won't leave you again. My next vacation around the new year, I'll bring all my equipment. I'll do all my shows on vacation. Don't worry. Everybody have a great Thursday. We'll see you Friday. And yo, go Birds.